Sometimes the world looks like you ain't ever seen it before. Stuck behind never-ending windows, all you need is a door. Searching for something to put a smile back on your face. Just remember, in unusual times, it can come from an unusual place. You need a partner for the ride, 'cause everybody needs a Clyde. So set your worries to the side. Just ask, say the word and I'll be there. Just ask, you know the greatest things in life all come in a pair. They say hindsight's 20/20, but that ain't far enough behind me. So if you want the sweetest honey, I think hindsight's 1990. There's no need to pretend I got a hand I can lend, 'cause when you really need a friend, just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.
Are you ready to put a headband in your hair and pretend that it looks okay? So are we. Welcome back to Shit 90 Shows Taught Me. I'm Jess Sterling, here with my co-host, as usual, Sara Fergenson. Sara, how are you?
I'm good. I just finished my portrait of you. You look a little bit like a tomato. And to be honest with you, as you know, tomatoes are my favorite vegetable fruit. And so I just drew a tomato.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a compliment, I think. If you were to draw me as a tomato, I feel like that is the highest compliment. It's the greatest honor one could get.
It's pretty much true. Yeah. Would you want to be my partner in this art class for the portraits? Because you have to look at somebody that actually you like, because you're going to be looking at a long time. Here you go. Here you are.
Wow, I'm a tomato. So
Yeah,
a tomato on a piece of
audio,
paper.
medium. You want me to draw some curly hair on this tomato?
Oh, lovely. I would love that.
Wow,
Oh,
yeah,
beautiful. I have 2
wow.
strands of curly hair.
No, yeah, that's an accurate representation of how much hair I have. Yeah.
No, I think we would make terrible partners for this, because I think we would just chat so much and not be like paying attention to the drawing portion.
Yeah.
Like, I think we wouldn't be able to just sit there in like awkward silence for like an hour to do this, I don't think. So
no.
And I think that kind of requires that. I don't know. I think I would be terrible at this. Have you seen the trend, Sara, of like the husband and wife like draw each other or whatever, and like it's usually one of them is really good and one of them is really bad?
Yeah, I have seen that. Have you and Will tried it? That seems like an activity that you guys would do.
I think so. I think what would end up happening is both of ours would be not so great, but his would be much worse, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's like the best drawer, so I think it
Would he stick figure it?
I think he would try more than that, but I don't even think it would be fun, Sara, because I think he would get really annoyed. Like, I think he actively would be upset that he wasn't better at it, because both of us are very competitive, and even in non-competitive situations, I feel like that's what would happen. What about you and Adam? How do you think that would go?
I mean, like, I'm not a good artist. Like, even though I'm in a artistic field, I'm definitely not a good artist, and Adam doesn't really have artistic prowess as well. I mean, I've seen him draw stuff. It's very stick figure-esque. He would probably wind up with a few stick figures. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think that we're doing this. I asked him once if he wanted to do like a little artsy day. He didn't seem that interested in it.
No, I mean, I've seen his drawing and it's not so great.
He drew you, it was a great representation of you. Yeah. He said it was a picture of you with your curly hair. And it said ew, because you were talking about me and him because you hate us.
It's exactly so accurate. Yeah. But you know what's not, there's not hatred happening in this episode of Felicity. In fact, this episode went everywhere, Sarah. Like, the thing I can respect about Felicity as a character and as a show is that it's like, I'm not going to sit on these feelings for like 2 episodes. No, I'm going to blurt them out my face immediately.
Never. We are not people in Felicity who keep things to ourselves. We're oversharers. That's for sure. And that's been like a thing since the very first episode. I mean, one of the most shocking things that you and I found about the pilot, especially when we watched it a few years ago, was the fact that we thought this like, oh, Felicity is going to keep Ben, a secret from Ben for a season at least.
Yes.
About her coming to New York for him and her having feelings for him. No, that got out into the public in the first episode, which was pretty wild.
Yeah. And then this episode is no different, where it's like, oh, she realizes she's having feelings for Noel, and in the same exact episode she reveals that she is having those feelings for Noel. And the way he handles it, again, we're gonna like chat about it, but it's like, wow, I'm honestly pretty impressed with like at certain points. Obviously Noel has mistakes he makes along the way, but like to have the maturity to realize, like, even though I still may have feelings for Felicity, we're not good for each other. Like, it didn't work out the last time, and so I'm a little hesitant to jump back in. I didn't expect that from Noel, Sarah. Like, honestly, Noel feels like the type of character to be like heart over head every single time, and like I'm gonna go with what my heart wants, even if it's gonna crush my soul eventually.
I think it was a little hard for Noel to make that call while in a relationship with Ruby, who he actually does also like. I think that if Noel was was single, I find it like very hard to believe that he would resist the fact that Felicity was coming to him with admitting feelings. Like I honestly do. Like, I think that he would I do think that he would go for it again, but I do think that he really likes Ruby. What's not to like? And I think that he feels like he wants to give it a real go. And I also think that maybe Noel is learning that like his initial instincts of like, you know, like he was with Hannah, he liked Felicity, he made like a decision that he didn't really think about using his heart, I guess, regretted
or his
it.
Dick, you know.
Yeah, or his dick, right? Was with Felicity. Hannah came around, didn't really think about it that much, went to Hannah, that kind of fell apart. Like, I think that maybe he's learning that like maybe the safe option is the better option, aka when it comes to Felicity, maybe that is not the safest option for him.
Yeah, love the one you're with, right? As terrible as that song is.
or maybe you should just be alone.
Yeah, I mean, that's never an option for these characters.
Never. No.
But yeah, let's jump into season 2, episode 9, Portraits, which has some really funny dream sequences.
So yeah, I mean, pretty nutty. I had a dream last night, actually. And for the billionth time, I did not go to my fucking classes.
Oh no, I hate those dreams.
And it's like, I didn't go to a math class, and then I didn't go to this class that was like basically like had to do with the morning announcements and like being an anchor or something or other. And I this time I was in high school. Typically it's college, but this time I was in high school. I went to my guidance counselor, who is a fucking bitch. I hate that whore. And she was my volleyball coach, and she didn't like anybody unless you were good at volleyball.
Oh, well, that's not nice.
Yeah, no, it was not nice. I was not good at volleyball, obviously. So, and she was like, you're gonna have to, like, you're not gonna be graduating with the rest of the school. And then I was like so sad. And then I had to clean out my locker, which I don't know why, but I'm always freaking cleaning out my locker in my dreams. Like, why?
That's very straight. Like, I wonder if by the time we're like in our 70s, if we'll still be having nightmares about like a final or missing class or something, like, or do like once you hit a certain age, is it like, does it change to something else? Because are we really gonna have to live with this for the rest of our lives?
Like, is it the fact that like I am going to have like, hopefully, knock on wood, like a child one day, and I'm gonna have like real issues, and then I'm still gonna be like, oh no, I have to clean out my locker.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. It's
No,
honestly
it's gonna be
baffling,
like
but
my baby has to clean out her locker. It's like
you're gonna worry about her cleaning out her locker.
cleaning out your locker is not even like that much of a stressor.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think I've ever had a like quote unquote like dream or nightmare, whichever way you want to phrase it, of cleaning out my locker. Like, certainly I'm gonna miss class or something, like running late for class, but never about my locker.
I always dream about having to clean out my locker. It's so stupid.
Maybe it's because you're moving soon. Maybe that's why. Because it's like cleaning out locker, packing up. Like, they're not dissimilar,
I guess. But Felicity's not dreaming about that. She's dreaming about, which I think is an actually very valid dream, that she is going to go present her stuff at art class, and her professor, aka David's mom, her ex's mother, is going to ridicule her in class, and all the other students are going to ridicule her as well. I think that this is a valid fear that manifested in a dream.
This is, first of all, like the fact that the teacher calls her a manipulator, a liar, and a bit of a slut.
Yeah, a bit of a slut. Yeah.
I can see this is a very fair fear to have, where you cheated on your professor's son. Yes. And with someone who's also in your class with you. Like, it is, I could see where the fear comes in, because we all like to pretend we're like, we are not petty and we're above doing something petty and not great. However, Felicity doesn't know this professor that well, and she didn't exactly get off on the best foot with her to begin with. So I feel like this could be, I understand where she's coming from, where this is a very valid fear. And she says she's having, like, since they've kissed, and she, like, obviously again she's in class with him, she barely can look at him because, like, these sorts of feelings are coming back. And I think, Sarah, we definitely predicted this in terms of, you know, last episode, she's like, oh, sorry, David, I'm not ready to date yet, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, this is bullshit. Like, she's going to immediately be trying.
It always is. It always is. I mean, like, when I broke up with my ex, I literally had said to him, like, yeah, I just, like, don't want to be in a relationship right now. And then 3 days later, I was in a new relationship. Yeah. So it's all a lie. I mean, it's what you have to say to, like, get out of the situation.
Yeah. And to be fair, she believed it at the time, which, you know, we don't always know what our, like, heart wants until it
on the surface level. I think that maybe she didn't realize, but I think that if she did some, like, 15 minutes of good internal work, I think that she could have figured it out real quick what she wanted.
Yeah. And Noel right away is like, listen, I regret it. I'm really sorry. Like, I should have never done that. And Felicity's taking about it. She's like, oh, yeah, okay. Yep, me too. Yep, sure. I definitely feel that way. But they're both worried that the professor is going to give them a bad grade as a result, because maybe she's petty. And I feel like the way they handle this is pretty bad, where they get an assignment where it's, okay, you have to pair up, and you're going to be drawing not only a self-portrait, but a portrait of the person that you're paired with. And I understand the want to pick someone you know and you're comfortable with, because there's nothing worse than, like, Sarah, imagine getting paired with, like, a stranger and having to stare at them for hours, and it's, like, so awkward because you don't know them. So either you feel like you have to make small talk, or it's just very awkward because you're just staring at each other for hours.
Yeah, if only these two socialized with anybody in the class besides
very creep-esque, right? Like, no one talks to anyone else.
Well, it's because, like, everybody in the class knows, like, oh, these people are the drama. I'm gonna stay out of it. Yeah. So they like moths to a flame. They choose each other, which I agree with you. I was like, we could have done better.
Especially because I wouldn't have cared as much if your you're in a class where the professor isn't your ex's mom. Like, it just looks horrible to then choose each other. And then on top of that, not just to choose each other, which Noel is the one who starts with this, right? It's not even Felicity. He's the one who says, I want to be your partner. And she's just like, oh my God, great, because I want to be your partner too. And it's like, this is going to be bad. This is not going to end well. But I think it's even worse, Sarah, the fact that they go up to the professor. And I think the worst thing you can do is insinuate that she might be petty, right? I think like you're going to make her feel even more like, well, fuck you too.
It's so cringe because like they basically ask permission and she's kind of just trying to be a professional and is just like,
yes,
I like, do you have any questions about the assignment? Like, we're not, she's like, I'm not going to get into this with you. Like, it makes me uncomfortable. It all feels very inappropriate and I don't really like you right now. But the more you talk to me, the more I'm going to have to, like, I don't know, think about your existence. It's awkward enough. Like, you're all adults. You can make your own decisions. It would be unprofessional of me to grade you based off of a personal interaction that we had, but I'm just trying to live my life as a mediocre professor at a
this is NYU, Sarah. This is the fake NYU. This is a prestigious establishment.
It's a yeah. I mean, still even NYU can have mediocre professors, I'm sure.
I just think that it's the worst thing they could have done is what they did, which is basically insinuate that the professor might end up being shady or petty or, hold this against them. Terrible look. Don't, because you're basically accusing her of being petty, which is gonna, and if it was me, make me want to be petty. But it's awkward. They leave. We get this like, I don't know how I feel about this storyline, Sarah. The Shawn and Julie storyline. A lot of it feels so extremely far-fetched that it's like hard for me to even like ground myself in reality in this scenario where Shawn, apparently during the Thanksgiving catering thing, some guy tried Smoothaise, absolutely loved it, which is very far-fetched, and wants to distribute it to like different restaurant chains. So he's like going to get a meeting with him.
Okay. I mean, maybe this man has like dead taste buds and he thinks it's very good.
Yeah, it's just, and I guess, okay, the thing is, if it was tasty and just had a terrible name, right? Like, let's pretend it's really, really a delicious, inventive new condiment. And you're like, oh, but we could change the name. That's fine. You know what I mean? Like Smoothaise sucks, but that's just marketing. That's just marketing. We could change that. Versus in this, what I believe in this situation, based on the guy who dunked his shrimp cocktail into it, he did not like it. To the point where Julie offers him a glass of water knowing it's going to be bad. And when they go home later that night to have turkey dinner, they're like, no, we don't need Smoothaise. Like, it's very obvious that it also doesn't taste good. That's where I find it hard to believe that someone is like, yes, this is our new condiment that we're going to get in all restaurants.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think that there's a reason why in the last, I mean, since you've been alive, has a new condiment popped up?
I can't think
because I'm thinking like sriracha has become popular, but I'd assume that sriracha has been around since like years and years and years, especially in Asian culture.
And I think I think it's more of a combo, right? Like it's like, oh, let's combine sriracha and mayo and make like a sriracha mayo. Like that is more of like what's happened versus brand new condiment.
And I think that there's a reason for that. Like, I mean, we've got our mustard, we've got our ketchup, we've got our barbecue sauce, we've got our ranch. Like nobody's asking for new condiments. We are fine. Like our lives are fine.
Yeah. It doesn't make a ton of sense. And then we'll get into, Julie's thing when it happens, but she's going to be playing at Epstein Bar and she says, oh, I'll buy you a drink. You should come. There's going to be a ton of like record people there. So hopefully it goes well. Okay, great. one of my favorite storylines this episode, and it's a very minor one, but cracks me up nonetheless, is Ben going from his storyline being, I'm dating a married woman and will we get caught and all of this, to I have a American Lit paper due in 48 hours and I haven't even started it.
Yeah, he's like, he is acting out. He like comes in, he stomps to the door, he slams his bedroom door, then he comes out, he's like, I'm sorry, I slammed my bedroom door, but I have a paper due soon. And then he slams his door again. He's acting out. This is just like a cause of like, as the writers, they just didn't know what to do with him for the next few episodes until he falls into another relationship, I suppose.
Yeah.
So they're like, he's just like acting out, and then like Julie and Shawn have to like act like his parents and be like, what's wrong with you?
I love this so much. Like, I love the slamming of the door. I love the apology about slamming the door, and I love him saying, I'm gonna do it again.
I'm gonna do it again. Yeah,
So
I was definitely a door slammer as a teenager. I love to slam a door.
I don't think have I told you this, that I was also a door slammer. And so, you know how there's different types of doors. Like there's like your like corkboard sort of door that's like very lightweight and you can't really slam it well. You know what I mean? Like the cheaper doors. Then you have your wood doors. So growing up, we had wood doors. And so if you got mad and you slammed that shit, it slammed. It was loud. And I got into an argument. I don't remember why. Who knows?
Your dad or your mom?
Definitely my dad. And or it could be both of them, but probably my dad. And so I went into my room
on Father's Day.
On Father's Day of all days.
On Father's Day, you are fighting with your father.
Shout out to my dad. He's great. But yeah, I slammed the door, and it was like obviously very loud because it was a wooden door. And my dad got so mad. He came in and he was like, you slam that door again, I'm gonna take it off. I don't think he actually did, but my brother's door did get taken off once.
Really?
Yes, because because my parents were always on his case, like clean up your room, it's disgusting, clean it up. And this is, keep in mind, we are like teenagers at this point, so it's not like you're like 10 and your room isn't clean. No, you are like nearly an adult and your room is not clean.
Yeah.
And it was to the point where it would like smell, because it's like, what the hell is growing in there, you know?
Ew.
And I know. And my dad not only removed my brother's bedroom door, but put up like caution tape across the entry.
Okay. Interesting.
To be like, clean your fucking room, you nasty.
Did he clean his room?
Eventually.
This is what I would do. Like, if I was him, I would pay you $50 to clean the room.
I don't know that I would have done it because it was that bad. Like, it was that bad. And also, I don't know that like I would have done it because at that point I may have had a job, or either way, I was like so anti my brother that like I would have been like, that's doing him a favor. Like, I'm not doing that. But yeah, I don't know. I love a good door slam on television. I really do. It's very childish, but I love it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that Ben's getting out his frustrations.
Yes. Yeah. So we get another dream sequence from Felicity. This one is insane, where she's drawing a portrait, and then she goes through this curtain, and there's Noel, and he's just like, I've missed you so much. And fucking art guy Eli is back, and he goes, I had her first.
I love that they got art guy Eli to come in for this cameo. Like, we couldn't get him back to get him to be like an actual person that's involved in this show. I wish we did. I wish that we did instead of David. But I think it's so funny. I was like, let's bring him in for this one line. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. Yes.
It's so interesting too, because of the idea, right? What he says is, I had her first. Like, it's very much like Tainted Goods. It's like, oh, you're no longer pure. Like, you lost your virginity. Oh, you nasty slut. It's like, it's really funny. And then, so let me see David. And then we have Ben. And Sarah, I don't know why, I really was like locked in on what Ben said. Ben said, I'm her soulmate. And this is interesting. We have a lot of soulmate talk in Dawson's Creek. We talk a lot about like Dawson and Joey, quote unquote soulmates. I know you, obviously you're team Noel, but also you think they're endgame. You think Noel and Felicity are endgame.
I'm pretty confident, yeah.
That would track with like the Dawson's Creek side of things, right? Where everybody thinks it's going to be Dawson and Joey, they're soulmates. It ends up not being Dawson and Joey. However, the writer of Dawson's Creek always thought that they would end up together. So he wrote like they're soulmates with the intention of them actually being soulmates and ending up together. I was wondering, like, did that not matter to you? Is it still in your mind, Noel and Felicity endgame?
I think it all really depends on if they're going to get back together this season.
Okay.
Because, I mean, like, yes and no, because I'm thinking, of course, like Ross and Rachel got back together like multiple times, but
yeah,
I think like it really depends on the timing of it all. But yeah, like I do think that they're going to be endgame, especially because like, I mean, let's see what Noel does if he like is like, okay, like I like don't want to be with you, but then like I want to be with you. You know what I mean? Like if he's like, I don't want to be with you, I need the time, then yeah. I mean, I guess you're probably feeling the opposite. Like maybe this was a sign that they're not endgame.
I'm thinking that, I mean, obviously we know it's very much the Ben versus Noel, and usually that sort of thing carries throughout the entire series, no matter if Felicity dates other people in the interim, right? Like a David sort of character. I don't know. I think right now we're in season 2. We're midway through season 2, and Felicity and Noel are revolving around each other. They're going to date again, obviously. Ben is out of the loop at the moment, which makes me feel like eventually he's going to be back in the loop, and then he will be endgame. So I don't know. I think I was on Noel's side in terms of, obviously I'm team Ben all the way, but I think that I was thinking that possibly Noel and Felicity could be endgame. And I think if that's true, if that's the case, I think it is like majorly on the back of Scott Foley being like having incredible chemistry with literally anyone that could be. You know what I mean? A lot of times the writers lean into whatever pairing has more chemistry, right? Like a Katie Holmes, Joshua Jackson sort of situation.
True.
So
True. Do you
not that they don't have chemistry, not that Ben and Felicity don't, but you know.
Do you want me to spoil myself?
And look it up? No. Why would I want you to do that? Have I ever been like, yes, Sarah, please spoil yourself on the show? You just wanted to. That's why you asked. You're like, can I though? Can I actually just spoil myself? No, I just thought it was a very intriguing thing because then Ben says, I'm her soulmate. Then Noel says, no, I am. And so it's very much like, I mean, this is the show, right? It's the love triangle.
Yeah.
And Ben has been so, I mean, we got feedback about it. We've talked about it, how much like Ben, Julie, Shawn are kind of their own thing at this point. They're on their own little island in their apartment. They're not really a part of the Felicity storyline.
True.
And I wish they would kind of reintegrate those groups back together. I don't think it would be that difficult considering Julie and Felicity seem to have made up and are fine. So I almost wish that we had a little bit more. I'm not even saying like Ben and Felicity together. I'm just saying those two groups I'd like to be a little bit more commingled at this moment.
Yeah, of course. I would too. I think that maybe this is just like a backlash of like awkwardness and they need a little bit more time. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. We also get another appearance from Lucky. And he says
that was pretty unbelievable too.
He said Jamapel Chance. So I guess his name is actually Chance because Jamapel is my name is, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And he says, I am a metaphor for your sexual ambivalence and confusion.
Okay. All right, Lucky. Like, come on. Yeah, I thought it was funny that Lucky was back too. These dreams are bizarre.
And this isn't even a dream, Sarah. This is like a daydream.
Felicity's insane.
Like,
we've knew that. Like, we've known that Felicity is absolutely crazy, but she's batshit insane.
if there's ever a time she needed a therapist, it's right now. You know what I mean?
She's Sally.
She's oh fuck Sally. And this
Sally.
is a daydream. Like she's thinking all of this as her and Noel are drawing each other. It's like, what is happening?
Pay attention. Pay attention to your work. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know that the whole point of the show is the love triangles, but I am getting weary
of the love triangle situation.
I mean, just like fuck both of them, see who's better, and then have a good day.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing is it's very angsty, right? Like a lot of this feels very angsty. It is very college where you're like, oh my God, this is a life and death decision. And it's like, it's really not though.
I mean, these kids are not even in fucking college. This is the least college show that's ever colleged. Joke, just, you know what I mean? Like, where's the
where's the partying cups? Yeah, where's the partying, where's the Greek life, where's the like doing drugs and fucking around?
Yeah, like these are like literally adults that are like going to night school. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they're very pure in a weird way,
very chaste.
Yes. And like Noel is definitely giving signals, right? Like she's like, I'm not looking forward to doing this self-portrait part, and she's like, oh, I don't want to have to stare at my face for hours and hours.
It's a lot. So they have to do one self-portrait of themselves, how they see themselves like internally, one portrait of themselves, how they think others see them, and then excuse me, oh my God, my morning voice, and then one portrait of the other person. That's like 3 portraits. Is this a final?
This feels like too much. Maybe it's a final, I guess, but I agree. It feels like I feel like one of these things is a lot, let alone 3 of them.
I feel like this maybe is like a final project. Like I got this a lot when I was in school, where we would get like our final project like 2 months in advance.
Okay.
So, or like a month 2 months in advance. So maybe that's what it is. Like maybe it's supposed to take a long time to do.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, I don't know. It's a lot. And he says like, oh, you know, like, I like your face. Like, I would like to look at your face a bunch. It's like, again, it's like, you don't say that to just like, yeah, especially because it's an ex, you know? And she jumps right to, oh, how is Ruby doing? Oh, she's still in LA. Like, it's been tough. Because at this point, Sarah, she's been away longer than they were even dating.
Yeah. I mean, that's very telling. That's very, very telling. I think that I think that they probably should have put the relationship on pause. I don't know.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. You're young. This isn't like a 6-month-long relationship that is now long distance or something. Like this is like you just started out and you're in college, and you know, I don't know. It seems like a bad idea to be long distance, but I guess it is a temporary long distance. It's not like a, you know, we don't know when this is going to end. But like the thing that was like wild to me is that Felicity and Noel are doing these portraits. They took a TV break and fell asleep on the couch together, snuggling.
Inappropriate.
How does this happen? This doesn't happen unless you are already like cuddled up watching the TV, you know?
I mean, yeah, I guess like you can't really blame like we sleepily like came into this position of being in each other's arms. Like I don't really know if that happens.
No, it seems pretty far-fetched to me that is something that could happen. And so Felicity goes to Elena and she explains all of this to her. And she's like, he didn't say anything about it when we woke up. I don't know what to do. And when I said the thing to David, I meant it. But now I think that I'm like having feelings for Noel and I really don't know what to do about it. She's like, if I had the chance to be back with him, I might do it. And I know we get on Elena sometimes because sometimes Elena is not the greatest friend. Like she certainly has her moments, but I kind of liked her in this scene where Felicity asked, how are Noel and Ruby doing as a couple? Like, do you think they're doing well or do you think they're struggling from distance, blah, blah, blah. And Elena says, well, I think he likes her.
Yeah.
But you guys have the history.
Yeah. I mean, that's valid. It's true.
Yeah.
I think
And she
that's
does say, like,
very hard to not fall back into the pattern.
yeah. And she says, like, you guys have been dancing around this for ages, right? Elena's the one who called it out. Like, I love her kind of being honest, and not just because it would be very easy for her to say, Ruby and Noel are nothing. Obviously, he would choose you. You know what I mean? Like, that feels
Yeah.
like the very much like the role of a friend trying to like pump up their friend. But I like that she's honest and like, well, I think he likes her, but you guys have history and you've been dancing around this forever. So like he probably would choose you if you put it out there.
Yeah. And that gives Felicity the confidence to do what she does and be open and honest with. So maybe once again, it was bad advice by Elena.
I think it was good advice.
No,
and
it
just
was good
bad
advice. I'm just
timing.
joking. I'm just joking. Yeah, like I think that, like I think that it was good advice as well, but
yeah,
it
but
didn't work out in
unfortunately,
Felicity's favor.
Yeah, unfortunately for Felicity, her timing is terrible. And when she goes to go tell Noel about her feelings, Ruby's there. It's so awkward.
Yeah, I mean, that is pretty awkward. She is back. She got some leave. And I mean, like, I was happy to see Amy Smart again. I think that she's a likable character and she seems to like really like Felicity and really like Noel. So she's like kind of too like nice to hate on, you know?
I agree. I think I like what Felicity says later where it's like, this was me like last year. It feels too similar. And so I don't know how much time is passing like in between all of this, but in the next scene where Felicity and Noel are drawing each other, it's like she says, "Oh, I can't believe it's almost Christmas." So we've like leapt a few weeks because we're going from Thanksgiving to Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah. And Noel's like trying to figure out what to get Ruby for Christmas. And
Yeah,
he's
can we
got some
talk?
options.
We need to rank these options here.
Yeah, I'm ready because I was anticipating us to talk about this too. Of course, I'm very opinionated about gifts.
Yeah.
And first and foremost, I would say like all of the above, like give me all the gifts. But if that's not something that we can do because of we're college students and a little poor, then like let's talk it out. The first gift that was proposed. Well, the thing is, like, Felicity found this like big set of, I think, like art colored pencils or markers, like for artists, like not Crayola brand, but like for a professional artist. So that's option one.
I thought she found the Palm Pilot first. Was that second?
I don't know. But no, like, didn't she find like the colored pencils and was like, oh, like, what are you trying to do? Like, bribe one of your professors? Remember?
Yeah, no. She sees the pile of gifts and is like, oh, like, you're like Christmas shopping? You procrastinating? Like, oh, are you bribing professors? And she pulls the Palm Pilot out.
Okay, whatever. So there's the Palm Pilot.
Which, this brought me back, Sarah. Palm Pilots. This was back in the day before we had smartphones and before cell phones were even really that popular. And Palm Pilots were a thing. My mom had a Palm Pilot and she loved it. And the one thing I remember most about the Palm Pilot is it had Bejeweled. And I played the fuck out of Bejeweled on her Palm Pilot.
Oh, you like to play the games on it?
Yeah. And that was back in the day, Sarah, where like you didn't have ads. You didn't have to like, it was, oh my God, it was so
you just
great.
Played for hours on end.
It was one of those things where a lot of times like, oh, I have a doctor's appointment. So we'd be like sitting in the waiting room and I'd be like, Mom, can I play Bejeweled?
Oh yeah. You were an iPad kid before iPad kids were a thing.
Just for Bejeweled though.
Sure. Bejeweled. Yeah. My dad had Palm Pilots. He got them every time like a new one came out. He was one of those people. Like he
loved the latest tech.
Yeah, he just passed away like right before iPhones became like a huge thing. But he definitely would have been one of those men who got the new iPhone every single time it came out. Like that was his thing. Like he loved tech. So I remember him having a bunch, and I think like I got to like play with the old versions. So Noel's point of getting her a Palm Pilot is she's like says that she's always disorganized and she doesn't know what's like in her calendar, and she feels like she like can't keep up on things. So it's a thoughtful gift for her. It's not romantic, but it's a very thoughtful gift of being like, I think that like she could use some organization. This will help her. And like, it's probably something that she wouldn't buy herself.
Yeah, this is this is the sort of gift I would both give and love to receive.
It's the practical gift.
It's practical and it's thoughtful. Like, I noticed that you need better help organizing yourself. Here is the Palm Pilot. And because Noel is techie, I feel like it also serves another purpose of, and I will help you like set it up and get organized. It's very thoughtful in a very practical way, which is both the way I give gifts and I really enjoy receiving gifts that way as well. So I was all about the Palm Pilot. I was very excited for this.
Yeah. Option 2, I think now was the colored pencils.
Okay.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Colored pencils.
Which I thought was also, because like, okay, it's really, really, really expensive. Like, I had to buy artist grade markers and colored pencils when I was in school, like Prismacolor, blah blah blah. It's really, really expensive. And this seemed like a humongous pack of colors. Like, it wasn't just like the primary colors. So like, I think that this is like a good gift as well. It's probably thoughtful, something that she wouldn't buy herself, something that she'll use in school. But I think that the Palm Pilot is still the better gift.
Okay, so I'm rewatching this scene now. I don't see any colored pencils. I'm seeing the Palm Pilot. Well, there's a Palm Pilot, and then he moves from Palm Pilot to like sweatshirt.
Really? That whole big box was a Palm Pilot?
Yeah, that big box was just a Palm. I mean, they were huge back in the day.
You know what it was? I think that I just thought that it was colored pencils. And because
I was gonna say, because I'm like, why would he get her those? She's not in art class.
Is she? I thought she is an artist.
I don't just think so.
Right,
maybe she is. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oftentimes I just create my own narrative.
I love the thought. And the thing that I would have said is like, that seems more like a gift for Felicity.
Okay. So fine. The sweater then.
Yeah, it's like a sweatshirty sweater, kind of like a brown color.
0 out of 10.
Yes, thank you. Because here's where I land on giving clothes as gifts. You better be damn sure that what you're getting someone is both like their style and their size. Because if it's not, you're probably going to offend them. I'm not the biggest fan of getting clothes as gifts because I tend to be pretty particular about my clothes. And to be honest, I wear like mostly just like leggings and tank tops and stuff in the summer. So I'm not like really, it's not like that would impress me. That wouldn't be a gift for me. Maybe it would be for Ruby, but Sarah, I feel like when you hold up a Palm Pilot in one hand and like a sweatshirt in the other, unless that shit is cashmere.
It's probably cashmere. It has to be, right?
In which case I would be like, gosh, that I would be afraid to wear it because I'd be afraid to like spill on it. But that's just me. That's me.
I mean, that don't impress me much.
Yeah, not good. I agree. I think that is lowest in terms of the gifts so far.
Right. Yes. Even the imaginary colored pencils.
Let's add in the colored pencils. It's still lower than the colored pencils, despite Ruby probably not being an artist, but we're not sure.
The next one is the bracelet.
It's a bracelet that has like, quote unquote rubies. And I doubt they're real. There were a lot of them on there.
Rubies are expensive.
Exactly.
This is Felicity's choice. She likes the bracelet best. And I would say, okay, you know what I'm going to say. The bracelet was really ugly.
Thank you. Oh, it was so ugly. It was so ugly. And maybe it's because I'm not a bracelet wearer in general. I don't wear a ton of jewelry or anything, but I also hate dangly bracelets because if you ever, like in the modern world, most of us have to sit at a desk and type every once in a while. And the jingly jangling would drive me fucking crazy. Yeah. And on top of the fact that it looks like it was bought at a Claire's. It's fucking ugly. It's fucking horrible.
I don't know if it was, I feel like it has to be a little expensive. And I think like the thought of getting her a ruby is really cute. Like what I would do instead is probably get like a solitaire necklace with like a singular ruby.
Yes. Yes, we are on the same page. That is exactly, the simpler the better. Just like make it a little delicate. It's a necklace, which is less like getting in the way than a bracelet is. And it's just, and you could spend more on just the one gem versus getting a whole bunch of ugly fake ass gems that look like they were bought at like, you know, I don't know, a Claire's or like a children's fucking department.
Yeah, but there's no way that's an actual ruby because rubies are like I said before, they're expensive. They're like one of the more expensive precious stones.
Yeah.
Like okay, solitaire ruby necklace, and of course like this is accounting
today's
like
prices.
Inflation and blah 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 blah. Okay.
Sorry.
Like I'm seeing like stuff for like $300. Like he can't afford that.
I mean, a Palm Pilot was probably that much though.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, like that's a very like big gift. This one I like a lot. This is kind of like a ruby birthstone necklace. This is pretty.
I think that's like cute and thoughtful. And I think giving jewelry to a partner always seems like a big deal. Like it's a very romantic thing. Again, I think it's knowing your audience. I don't feel like we know Ruby well enough to really say.
No.
But
was there any other options after?
No, that was it. That was it.
Okay.
And he asks like, which would you like? Which should I give to Ruby? And I agree with you. Like, so Felicity likes the bracelet because let's pretend it's the nice necklace that we just talked about. That is like a romantic thing. And Felicity is all about romance.
Yes. And like, I get it because like, at first glance, it's like, do you want to give your partner this like piece of technology that seems on surface level impersonal, or do you want to give somebody like a romantic piece of jewelry? And I think that like at first glance, like you're like, well, of course you give your partner the jewelry. But I think in a way the jewelry is even more impersonal than the Palm Pilot because it's like, oh, your name is Ruby. You'll of course love a ruby necklace.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I do agree with you. I think that even though the power, oh my God, that was a PowerPoint, the Palm Pilot, even though the Palm Pilot feels more practical, there's a lot of thought behind it. It is not just wow, this is a cool new thing, a Palm Pilot. No, it's, I know you want to be better organized, so here's a Palm Pilot to help you with that.
Is it offensive? Because I would be like, oh, you think I'm a fucking mess? Okay.
No, I think she's admitted to him that she's disorganized. So I feel like that I don't think it's offensive if she's said it. If she hasn't, and he's like, you're late to everything, here's gonna be on time, then it's offensive.
Okay.
But Felicity says, I can't. So I think we've said Palm Pilot at the top, right? And then we're gonna move to colored pencils if they existed. And then are you putting, I think, bracelet next? Yeah, bracelet, and then sweater last.
Yeah.
So Felicity says, well, I'm sorry, I can't weigh in. And the reason I can't weigh in is because, and she just blurts out, I want to go out with you again. I don't know how serious you and Ruby are, or if you're even like interested in dating me, if you weren't dating Ruby, but there it is. And I was like, holy shit, she did it. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, once again, it kind of tracks about who Felicity is, and especially when Elena kind of like eggs her on. I think that she's somebody that like really, like, I get this about Felicity. Like when there's something on like the tip of my tongue, like I really can't wait on it. Like it has to, it's like now or essentially never.
It's killing you to not say it.
Yeah. So I get this quality about Felicity, and she's going to shoot her shot. And also it's like, well, you know, maybe this is the right timing because either he's going to go further down the love path with Ruby, or, you know, before it gets too serious, like maybe she can just throw her what's it called? Her blank in the ring.
Oh, hat in the ring.
hat? Why would the hat go in the ring?
I don't know. It's throw your hat in the ring. That's what the phrase
is. Who's throwing their hats
throw
in the
your
ring?
hat in the ring.
Why is the hat in the ring?
I don't know what. Yeah, like origin. Okay. Let's see. The phrase originally comes from boxing, where one contestant
I thought that it was going to be boxing. Yeah.
Yeah, they would literally throw their hats into the boxing ring as a signal that they wanted to join the fight. There you go.
That's
a literal thing.
Ridiculous. Okay. Yeah, right. Like, let's do it now or before you guys like get much more serious, I guess.
Yeah. And you know, how do you feel about Felicity doing this? Like, is this a faux pas? Like, is this kosher to be like?
I mean,
doing this
it's not great, but you do you, Felicity. I mean, like, you will continuously do you. So I guess, it's good. I don't know. Like, do you think that this was the right move for her, or does she have to be patient?
I think it was the self-interested move.
Oh, absolutely.
Not necessarily like selfish, like kind of selfish, but like it's mostly like I can no longer contain myself. I need to get this out and about, and like at least it will be off my chest. She's not thinking of Noel. You know what I mean? Because Noel now is stuck in a really hard position where he's like, oh my God, I'm reeling. Like, what am I supposed to do? I have this new girlfriend, Ruby, who is like not here. Again, like important to note, she's not around much because she's too busy off on a movie set. And then I have someone I dated for a long time that I was in love with that, you know, like she broke up with me. You know, it wasn't even like I got to make that decision. So it's definitely like a selfish move. And I guess in the best case scenario, he says, oh my God, I have feelings for you too. And I'm going to break up with Ruby right now. And worst case is kind of what happens, or I guess it could be worse, but he says, you know, this is like really bad timing, like what you're saying right now. And he tells this story about this man who tries to like do a motorcycle jump or something over all of these buses. He's like a stunt man. And he missed terribly. He did a terrible job and he ended up in the hospital. And when a reporter asked like, oh, are you going to try that again? He's like, no, because I botched it so badly the first time.
That's not how I interpreted that story.
Oh, really?
No, I think that like he said no because the high of doing it the first time, even though he failed, was so great that like he's never going to be able to get back that like exciting feeling of the first time again, which is how like I feel like he compared it to the relationship with Felicity. Like the first time was so exciting, so thrilling, so great that there's no way to like capture that in a bottle again. The second time is going to be different. That's how I interpreted that story.
Interesting. I viewed it as it was such a car crash the first time that I can't do that again. Like basically saying I was hurt so badly and it was so screwed up that it's because, you know, sometimes people ask for like, oh, what about a clean slate? Can we get a clean slate? He's basically saying like, there is no clean slate. Like I was so devastated the first time that I'm not ready to just jump back into that sort of thing again with you.
I don't know, because like Felicity took that like pretty well. And I feel like if she was told that, then I feel like it wouldn't like have gone over as well.
Well, I think the reason she like, because she's trying to keep safe face, right? She's saying like, thank you for being honest. Like, and I think she understands where he's coming from, where like, yeah, what she did, let's not forget, she ditches him to go with Ben, like completely kills him, like breaks his heart. I think she understands that like what she did really, really hurt him, and he's not willing to just jump back into that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And at least she feels like, you know what, at the very least, I've gotten this off of my chest, and now we can just go back to drawing awkwardly.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty clinically insane, to be honest with you, but
That's Felicity.
When in Rome.
She really is like, well, let's just go back to drawing now. And then they just sit awkwardly and draw.
Yeah. I mean, I think that you're so right. And like, it became Noel's problem by her opening it up. And like, it was a self-interested and in a way selfish move. Like, it was more so in the benefit for her to be open and honest and shoot the shot for her than it was for Noel's sake, because then she put him in a awkward position. And now like, he's going to be the one that's nonstop thinking about it.
Exactly. The selfless thing to do is to, swallow your feelings until he's single and then say something if he's single. You know what I mean?
You gotta wait. Yeah.
Yeah. But she doesn't. And she does tell him, give her the bracelet. It's what I would want.
Which I think that like maybe that is like, it's what I would want, was probably very telling, because it's like, okay, that's you, but what does Ruby want? What does Ruby need?
Yeah. Then we go to Julie performing at Epstein Bar. What did you think of this performance as compared to her past ones?
Is it not the same song over and over again?
I don't remember, but either way, I didn't like this one as much.
I mean, it's a little, I think it's because you've heard it 9 times.
Probably.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to love it. Shawn is there being very supportive, and she meets this guy and he says, oh, I found your flyer in my inbox, and I decided to like come check you out, and like I really, really liked you. He has a record label. His name is Eric Kidd. Did we know Julie's last name was Emmerich? Such an interesting last name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard it before.
But he's a head of like Pop Rock Studio or something, which is kind of a ridiculous name because it makes me think of the candy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's basically a new company. Like, it's a new company, it's a new management company. They're just starting out. They like to get young, fresh, new artists, and he wants to promote Julie. Like, he wants her to hand over her tape and give it to his superiors and maybe give her a shot, and she's like really excited about it, understandably. He does invite her out for a drink afterwards.
Yeah, he offers to buy her a drink. And did you have any bad vibes about this like Shawn does?
I think that Shawn's valid in thinking that like he's probably interested in her as well, but if the company is legitimate, then the company is legitimate. And I think that like, you have to do a little bit of schmoozing in all of this. I don't think that that's uncommon, but he's protective, like as a good friend does. I think that like both of them are like a little bit in the wrong, because like Julie was so excited for Shawn when he got like the news about somebody being interested in Smoothaise, and I think like as a friend, you should like be excited and like maybe like keep some of your, I don't think like the very first thing that you should say is like, oh, he's kind of a creep. You know what I mean? Like, be excited with your friend first and then like save the reservations afterwards later. But I also think that like Julie is, I don't know, kind of a brat this episode. Honestly.
Oh my gosh. Are we podcasting with DBK right now?
No. I mean, like, she's being kind of a jerk to Shawn, but also Shawn doesn't like the fact that some other dude is hitting on Julie. So
exactly. That's where, yeah. So I think I was very nervous right away when she meets this guy and he immediately offers to buy her a drink. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, poor Julie, is something bad going to happen to her again? But that's also a product of like me watching a television show versus like if I'm Julie or Shawn in the moment in real life sort of thing, right? Like I too felt a little sketchy about the guy, but I feel like a lot of my fears went away when he produced a business card, because to me that it's like, oh, he maybe actually has a business. I know you can make business cards.
I can make a business card right fucking now and say that I'm the CEO of fucking Google.
Like, it was more that like I was like, oh, this isn't like a scam necessarily, maybe a scam to get in her pants because he has a business card, like if he's faking it, at least he's doing a better job at faking it. So yeah, I was at first a little bit skeeved out, and then I was like, okay, maybe not, maybe it's fine. But we'll get into their argument later. I love Felicity barging into Elena's lab time to get advice. I loved this. This is so unhinged.
Okay, what is up with the new lab partner? Is she okay?
I don't think so. I don't think she's okay. She seems lost. I don't know.
I mean, obviously she has to be an intelligent person. She is in this doctorate program at NYU. But she seemed like she had eaten like 7 pop brownies. She is in slow motion.
Yeah, I love Elena where Felicity asks, is she the slow talker? And she's like, well, she's not the fast talker.
She's not the fast talker.
Oh, that cracked me up so much. Yeah. And so Felicity is so melodramatic. Oh, Noel just dumped me. Bitch, stop it. Stop it right now.
Elena's like, when were you and Noel together? It's not this century. And she's like, yeah, like I, opened up to Noel and told him that I wanted to date him again. And he didn't want to. Like, he said no, he likes Ruby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she's like, no, it's fine. He made a choice, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, you wouldn't be here if you're like fine with it. Fine. You know what I mean? Like, you're here because this is an emotional emergency.
An emotional emergency?
An emotional emergency. Yeah, that's what this is.
Emotion. I thought that you combined the words for a sec.
Oh, an emotion-see.
An emotion-see.
It is. It's an emotion-see. And of course, him being very mature and like handling it so well and choosing Ruby only makes Felicity like him more.
Yeah. I mean, true. Of course.
Yeah. And so that Felicity's dealing with that when Noel is with Ruby. And we get some like Christmas music in the background. It's Christmas in June, baby.
Ho, ho. Do you love Christmas?
I mean, yeah, we've talked about this. I do love Christmas.
Who doesn't love Christmas?
It's the best time of the year.
It's the best, wonderful time.
I totally know the words to that song.
Yeah.
So what can I ask?
Yeah.
So Felicity says, give her the bracelet. That's what I would want. Noel goes with the Palm Pilot.
Yeah.
What do you think of this?
I think it was the right move because once again, like I think that like she said, it's what I would want, which I feel as though would be like, okay, that's what she would want, but what would Ruby want?
So I read it differently. I like this. I like that we like are in disagreement on many things in this episode. I read it as Noel really likes Felicity, and so he's like, well, that must mean that the Ruby bracelet means a lot more, is more like emotional and means more, so I'm gonna give her the Palm Pilot, which is more of a impersonal, even though we've said it is very thoughtful. It's more impersonal for Noel to give the Palm Pilot than to give the bracelet.
Is he saving the Ruby bracelet to give to Felicity one day?
I think so. I think at this point
creepy.
It's not great.
That's
I gave you I got this gift for Ruby, but here you go.
No. No.
That's terrible, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, obviously there's no like Felicity stone to give to her, but no, that would be so bad.
Yeah, it's not very nice, but
I hate it.
I mean, I could see it being the case. And she's really excited. Like Ruby loves the Palm Pilot. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm so unorganized. This is great. Now you're going to help me set it up. Like she's really excited about this. And I just felt awful for Ruby because she doesn't deserve any of this, you know?
No, she does not deserve any of this. She seemed happy about the Palm Pilot.
Yeah, she loves it.
She seemed pleased.
Yeah. Julie and Shawn are they're gonna have a fight. By the way, Shawn is making a BLT and it's really making me want a BLT, but he's probably using Smoothaise, which I would not put on my BLT.
Okay, so you like a BLT moment?
I love a BLT.
Yeah,
they're great.
Does the bacon have to be like super crispy?
No, I'm not a crispy bacon girl.
Oh, so it has to be like thin, floppy. You like a flaccid bacon.
I do prefer a flaccid bacon.
Yeah, well, seems like a problem. What happened?
Really not, because that's what I like. It's not a problem.
All right. I mean, I don't mind a BLT. I don't think I'm obsessed with a BLT.
I'm not obsessed, but I really like a BLT. And I don't have them often, so when you're in the mood for a BLT, it's like,
I think I'm more like, if I was at a diner, I think I like a grilled cheese, kind of. Oh no, forget it all. I love like a caprese sandwich, like a like a mozzarella, tomato, basil,
balsamic glaze,
that, or like maybe like a pesto moment, or sun-dried pesto, and then like on the panini press. Yes, that is what I like.
It sounds great.
Yes.
So yeah, they get into an argument because she's all excited about this record guy, this producer guy. And he's like, I don't know. It seems like maybe it's too good to be true. Like he's just trying to hit on you. And Shawn is like, he's being very protective. And I think Julie goes too far here. Like, I agree. She's kind of being Queen Petty. We know she's petty. She's being Queen Petty here.
This is the scene where she acts like a fucking brat. She looks sweet, like a child.
Yeah, she's like, listen, I was really supportive about your Smoothaise thing, and he probably doesn't even like Smoothaise. Like, she's really nasty.
Yeah.
And Ben comes out and he's like, I'm trying to work on my paper.
It's like, okay, like they live here too.
Yeah. It's really funny and ridiculous. So they're in an argument now. And a lot of this, again, it's like Shawn has feelings for Julie. He's trying to protect her. She is like, she's seeing it more as like you just think it's because I'm a girl that he wouldn't want to sign me without getting in my pants. And I can see where she's coming from. I think it's basically just a miscommunication, but
yeah. Or he's a brat.
He's a brat or she's a brat?
She's a brat.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think she's more of the brat in this situation. So back to Felicity and Noel, who are drawing each other again. She's like, oh, how did it go with Ruby? Did she like the bracelet? And he's like, oh, well, actually, I gave her the Palm Pilot and she liked it. It's very awkward. It's very like, they both are not saying things that they need to be saying,
Yeah.
Also, Felicity's drawing is really good.
Do you think so?
I think Felicity's looks exactly like Noel. I think Noel's is a nice drawing, but does not look like Felicity.
Noel drew Felicity as like a Felicity giraffe. The neck is long.
I thought, okay, because what I pictured when he drew it, I thought it looked like a almost like a statue of her. Like if someone was going to make a statue of Felicity, because you know how statues are where it's like it sometimes doesn't really resemble the person, but you like kind of get what they were going for.
Yeah, it's a
Felicity giraffe.
I mean, how long is that neck? That's a 10-inch neck.
Yeah, it's a long neck. It is very long. It's very prominent. Maybe it's because he's like, I miss her curly hair. I don't know what to do. I don't know because I would have just covered her neck with hair. But now I can't, so gotta make it real long.
That's ridiculous.
Oh my god. Oh, so funny. So yeah, they're just like this is terrible on Noel's part. He says, "Oh, I met this guy," and he said the best way to be able to draw someone is to stare at each other very closely and silently for like a minute.
This is a recipe for disaster, you stupid fucks.
Yeah, let's sit inches from each other's faces and stare at each other.
This is insane.
Perfect.
This is a terrible idea.
Yeah. And they were seconds away from kissing. Lips were like nearly on each other when Elena walks in.
Yeah. And then it's just like, we were definitely not kissing, I promise you. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Freaking
Sure.
creeps. Cheating creeps.
Yeah. Not great. And I think at this point, Noel has to be like, oh shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously the feelings are still there, which isn't fair to Ruby at all. And Felicity's dreams. She's now dreaming she's in bed with Noel, and there's like pieces of the bracelet like under her pillow or something. This is ridiculous. It's like some messed up fucking tooth fairy came and was like, I'm a trash this bracelet underneath your pillow. This is very weird.
Yeah.
And she wakes up with Ruby next to her.
Yeah, she's like,
her
I want the pillow, the bracelet. No, I want the bracelet.
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
It's fucking weird. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
So, Ben is really, really struggling with this paper. He's just like, I don't know what to do. And Shawn is struggling with money. Which this is the first we've heard of Shawn struggling with money, I think.
He's a poor.
He's a poor now. Why? Because he's supporting fucking Ben.
Everybody supporting the entire world. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that Shawn was gonna volunteer to do Ben's paper.
He should have, for money.
Yeah, I legit, because he was like, this is so easy. And then,
although Ben has experience with that and it didn't work out well last time.
Oh, that's true. Oh my God, of course. How can I forget?
Yeah.
And Ben's just like, I just don't get it. Like this is the prop question, or like the prompt is what I was trying to say. And this is like what happened in the book. And long story short, Ben is struggling so badly because he read the wrong book.
Yeah, instead of reading, like, he read The Invisible Man instead of Invisible Man, or the other way around, one of those two.
Yeah, so he's like, I have to go back to the store and get the book and reread it.
Yeah.
What a dummy.
It's so funny. It's so Ben. It's so dumb. Like, it's just like, really, dude? And it's a big ass book too. Like, he not only has to read the book, he has to write the paper. Did Cliff Notes not exist at this point? Or maybe there's a movie he could have
One time I was supposed to like write like a book report on like, I don't know, Gone with the Wind. And then I watched the movie instead, but the movie is like 4.5 hours long too. It's so
the movie is really long. I had to do a report on it once. It's really long.
Yeah, that did not go well for me.
Yeah.
The whole thing. No, it was a disaster.
It's not a very, it's like, I guess back in the day it was great, but now it's just like fucking boring. It's a slog.
It is a slog.
Yeah. So Shawn and Julie make up, which is nice. You know, their argument didn't last more than an episode. But
do you think that what is going to happen is that Shawn is finally going to admit his feelings for Julie, and Julie is going to reject Shawn, and this is why DBK hates Julie so much?
I think the reason DBK, I love that this is our mystery within the show, is why does DBK hate Julie so much? I think the answer is he hates her for things that have probably already happened that we didn't really care that much about.
No, I think that they're going to happen in the future.
But DBK is so good about spoilers. I don't think he would like be spoily on his feelings.
I guess so. I don't know. I feel like there's just something that's going to happen that is going to be like, fucking Julie, you broke Shawn's heart. Yeah. I just feel it. I don't think that they're going to get there.
Maybe. I don't know. I think it's probably already happened, and it's just something that we didn't care that much about, but DBK was very offended by.
Maybe.
Yeah. So they make up. It turns out that the Smoothaise person was only like a secretary or administrative assistant or something, not the actual investor.
All right. Well, then maybe their taste buds are broken.
Yeah. Could be. But yeah, he congratulates her. Ruby comes into Felicity's room. This is Ruby. I love Ruby. Okay, but girl, why are you going to Felicity about this? Like, this is terrible. This is bad. Don't you have any friends? Ask your friends for advice.
She does not have any friends. No, the answer is no. She has none. Not one.
Ay. It's terrible. She basically wants advice because she has to go back to shooting, but she's basically going to have like 2 weeks there of nothing to do, she says. So she wants to buy a ticket for Noel to visit, but she doesn't know if that's like too much.
Uh-huh.
So she wants Felicity's advice.
Yeah. And once again, this puts Felicity in a very awkward position. She doesn't really know what to say. She obviously, it's like a conflict of interest, but ultimately she says like, no, like buy the ticket. Noel will love it, which he would, because in a way, that's what Noel did for Felicity. He took a chance, bought the ticket. Didn't work well for him, but that doesn't mean that like he wouldn't appreciate the same gesture, Fran gesture.
Yes.
the same for, you know, him. And like, she's very happy about the advice. And this isn't the part where she's like,
no, it's this later that she asks.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but this prompts Felicity to go to Noel and be like, were you gonna kiss me? What was going on? Were you gonna kiss me?
Felicity. And he's like, no, you're fucking crazy.
He's like, you chose the worst time to like admit these feelings, again, because it was a selfish move on her part. But like, very obviously he was gonna kiss her. And she says, this isn't fair to Ruby. And like, you know, what are you even trying to say? And he's like, I'm just a mess. Like, you know, she's been away for longer than we've even been dating for. And there's like, it's hard for Ruby to measure up to Felicity when they dated for so long.
They didn't date for so long. They liked each other for so long. They dated each other for a hot minute before Hannah came around.
It was months.
Yeah. I mean, that's not so long.
But for Felicity, it was her like first real relationship.
You know what's long? 16 years.
That's a very long time. That is fair. That is a very long time. Yeah.
That's long. 6 months is not a long time.
Yeah. Well, Noel admits that if Elena hadn't walked in, they definitely would have just kissed. And they're like, okay, well, I guess you should think about it. Like, and he again, indecisive Noel is gonna indecisive Noel. You know, like, this is just par for the course of who Noel is and why he fucking drives me crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty annoying. And also, he should literally not be allowed to do a long distance relationship. There should be like a law against it.
Yeah. Big time ban on him doing that, but you know, whatever.
Also, this is a serial cheater.
Yeah, he really is.
Even
though a cheater, always a cheater, as Rachel Green says.
Team Noel forever, but I mean, like, he's a cheater.
He is a cheater. I mean, and Ben sucks. Like, we just throw them all out, you know.
Ben's doing nothing wrong.
He's now,
just trying to do his paper. Well, so Ben's a commitophobe.
Yeah.
Noel, I think, is just a horn dog. He follows where his dick goes.
I was going to say, Noel is like that dog that just like sniffs all the other dogs' butts at the dog park. Mm-hmm. And then it's just like, I'm going to hump this one. And then I'm going to hump this one. Oh, but this one smells good too. Yeah. That's Noel.
Sure.
Yeah.
You saw that at the dog park? Is that Rupert?
Rupert can't go to dog parks. Yeah, he's too little.
Fucking gas immune system.
He needs vaccines still. He's not boosted.
He can't chill. He can't
go there. He could get diseases.
The canine influenza.
He could get parvo. He could get distemper. He could get all these other
diseases. No. How dare you mention distemper on the wake of Lucky's death, you fucking idiot whore.
His name was Chance, Sarah. His name was Chance.
Lucky. Which basically Chance is the same name as Lucky. That is strange.
I mean, although this is Felicity's dream, so that's what she thinks his name is.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's not real.
Yeah. I mean, his real name is probably like Poker Chips.
Poker Chips?
That's a cat name.
Okay.
Sure. I bet somebody named their cat Poker Chips out there.
I mean, I'm sure they have. Okay, so Ruby comes to Felicity, asks advice on, hey, are you and Noel getting back together?
How Ruby is stupid as fuck. How did she pick up on this?
She says that when Noel talks to Felicity on the phone, he has this look on his face. Listen, Noel is not a master manipulator by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah. I don't think it's that far-fetched for Ruby to be like, let me put these pieces together. They never told me that they dated.
Ruby like printed out their pictures and was like writing on them, is it possible? ?
Yes. Yeah. She's detectiving it.
Yeah. She's like, I think I cracked the case.
I mean, it's a pretty obvious case. Let's put the pieces together, right? First of all, they seemed very close and they never told me they had dated previously. That's kind of a red flag. Then Noel and I are making out and he says her name. huge red flag. Then they're also really close while I'm away, and it's very obvious that anytime he's on the phone with Felicity, he looks really happy. Also a red flag. I feel like people get caught cheating all the time because it's one of those things where it's like, oh, they're texting someone and they're like smiling at their phone, and you're like, oh, this is fucked. That's how it's like that equivalent, but on the phone instead of texting.
Yes. That makes sense.
And so I think it's super obvious. And so Felicity says like, oh no, we're just friends. And she obviously looks very disappointed. And Ruby is just so naive that she's just like, oh, great. That's exactly what I wanted to hear.
Ruby, don't be a dummy.
Yeah, it's really sad. And so Felicity goes back to the art class the next day and tells Noel, you should go with her. You should take the plane ticket and go with her. She reminds me of me last year with you. And I think that I don't want to, she basically doesn't want to be the Hannah. She wants Noel to just move on.
That's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. It's big of her to do, as much as she hates doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the professor assesses the final portraits, and it's like a gut punch for Felicity because she's like, it's very obvious these two people know each other. In fact, they probably have fucked. That's how familiar they are. In not so many words. That's basically what she says.
They're both sluts. But no, but she was like, you know what? It's good. Like, I've seen improvement throughout the semester. It's like not bad at all. There's like this feature that's good, this feature that's good. So they probably got like a B+, a B.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did all right. Besides the giraffe neck.
The giraffe neck's a little unfortunate. Yeah. So it wasn't that bad. I think that like the moral of the story is like, no matter like you're always going to like build a better mountain, like a bigger mountain than in your head, the anxiety, than the actual event. Right?
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's yeah. We end the episode with Ruby is leaving, and Noel's gonna follow her the night after, and of course they're both going to the airport at the same time, Noel and Felicity, because
Felicity's going home for Christmas.
Yeah, she's going to Palo Alto for Christmas. So they do the thing where he's like opening the cab door for her. It's snowing, it's romantic, it's Christmas time, the carol bells are ringing. And they almost kiss, but Felicity gives him a little peck on the cheek instead.
Whore.
Can I ask, because I haven't brought it up, and this is pretty much the end of the episode. What do you think of Felicity's using a headband to help the headband, or to help the haircut?
I thought it was kind of cute.
I think it's better. I think it's an improvement.
Yeah, she looks less like her dad or David or whomever, you know?
Yeah, I don't love it, but I like it more.
We're going to get to the state where it's I feel if she's going to grow it out, then it's going to kind of get like a little like unruly.
Yeah, we did get feedback from Emily saying Felicity's hair is slightly less bad in this episode since it's starting to grow out.
Yeah, I think
we're about to hit the awkward stage.
It's like it's going to get good, but then it's going to get really bad, and then it's going to get good again.
I agree with you. So that is our episode. I thought this one was fun. Like, I thought it was interesting, and it took turns I wasn't necessarily expecting, which I liked. And it seems like next week, I assume we're going to be coming back from like a winter break. So that's fun.
Yeah. Or are we going to see how things are in California?
Oh, that would be interesting. Maybe
that would be fun. Yeah, I would love to see Felicity in California.
Yes, me too. Okay, let's get into some feedback. We did get a voicemail from the #1 Julie hater and Felicity stan, DBK. Let's see what he has to say.
What up, though, ladies? Did I send the first email? If I sent the first email, you don't have to play this one. If I didn't, then yeah. What up? So, portraits. Pretty good episode, funny. Dream sequences are pretty comical. Who had Simon Rex showing backup for like a little cameo action?
Not me.
He was first. You can never take that away from him. let's see. Noel is probably going to get killed for his actions this episode. I'm sure you guys are not a fan of Felicity this episode. They're both kind of like, I can't really defend them or whatever. I mean, Felicity at least like comes to her senses by the end, and I guess we're off Noel for right now. I know Ben was in Side Plot City, but I really enjoy him as comic relief. I found him super funny this episode, and it's pretty funny that he read the wrong book. We get a lot of Julie and Shawn this episode. No real movement on the romance, just them like bickering and fighting like a married couple. Next week is Great Expectations. It's a pretty big episode in the Felicity series, I guess, probably. So we will see what you think of that. You have that to look forward to. And yeah, till next week, ladies. Peace.
We have something to look forward to.
I'm excited. Yeah, DBK said, the next episode is titled Great Expectations.
Great Expectations.
So that's interesting.
That's a book.
It indeed, it is a book. We also got an email from Jamie, who says, while the show continues to keep Ben secluded from the main cast, his name didn't even come up when Noel and Felicity were discussing their past relationship, which seems weird considering Felicity choosing Ben over Noel has to be a big part of why Noel would be hesitant to trust Felicity again. There was even a Hannah mention, but no Ben seems very strange to me.
I feel like Ben is like the he who should not be named.
Yeah, they're like, we both agree never to bring him up.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree. I think we talked about this earlier. I wish Ben was a part of the more like the bigger plot, but you know, I'm not the writer and this was written a long time ago. So what are you gonna do? Let's hear from Temmie and see what he has to say.
Hi, ladies. Noel, Ruby, and Felicity attempted to resolve differing scenarios of uncertainty this episode by asking hypothetical questions. I thought Felicity was the strangest with Professor Sherman. We saw it last season with the chemistry professor when she was asking him if they were good. So how do you both deal with uncertainty? Thanks. Bye.
Oh my God, I spiral out. I really do. It's so bad. I get when I don't know what's going to happen, I really do get very anxious and like I'm thinking to, like we've been saying, I'm moving soon, and there was like a period where we were like waiting to hear back if we got like one of our places that we applied to, and I was just like, was really focusing on like really small details, and like I was just not, I don't do so well with uncertainty, unfortunately.
Yeah, me too. I am a control freak, and so not knowing what the future holds and like not knowing, basically being out of control is like the worst for me and like my anxiety. I'm not great at it.
I mean, like I think that like it is such an awkward situation with the professor thing, because I feel as though, okay, well, number one, I would never pair with Noel based purely on the fact that like that would be such like an awkward situation with this professor. But I think I would stay behind after class and be like, I do apologize about the situation, and I hope that both of us can like stay professional throughout the rest of the semester. Maybe I don't know. I feel like I also think I'm a bit of an over talker, so I think that like I would be like, I need to make it right because I'm a people pleaser and I don't want somebody to be mad at me. I don't know. I think that like I would probably act I would act in a way that we would mock in a podcast form.
Yeah, I think I would do the avoidance technique. I just don't think I would say anything. I would be like, let's pretend this never happened.
Which I just like don't feel like, I don't know. I don't know if that's like the right move either.
Oh no, I'm not saying it is. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know that I would have the right method either, but that's definitely what I would do.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Thank goodness we continue to have our therapy sessions weekly.
Yes. We need to decide who the winner of Portraits is. Who won this episode?
Portraits.
It's hard. Everyone kind of doesn't have the best. Honestly, can we give it to Ben because he's so fucking funny in this episode?
I guess. I mean,
who else gets it? Like Shawn and Julie are both being a little ridiculous. Felicity and Noel, I feel like you kind of want to give credit to Noel for like making a good decision, but at the same time, he wants to partner up with Felicity for this portrait thing, which is terrible considering they just kissed.
Ruby got the pod pilot.
She did, but I also think she's being extremely naive.
All right, Ben's fine.
Yay, good for Ben. So yeah, next week, Great Expectations, season 2, episode 10. Just to give a little bit of a heads up as well, after next week's podcast, we'll be back next week to cover that episode. Then the week after, we are going to be off because Sara is moving. And so she's going to need all that time to unpack all her feelings on Felicity as well. So
that was cute.
Thank you. We're going to skip a week and then we'll be back the following week. So next week we will be back, but just to give people a heads up so they're not sad when they don't see a podcast in their feed on the normal Monday sketch. That's the plan. And yeah, you can find me at the Jess Sterling. You can find us at Shit90s Pod. You can also hear me on Talking Shit. We're on season 2 of Schitt's Creek. And of course, Sara and I are still covering Pretty Little Liars Summer School over on Whirlwind Podcasts, which we're up to the finale of that show. So that'll be a ton of fun.
It's almost done. And just follow along what we're up to on Whirlwind Pods. Tons of stuff. We're covering the Ren Fair 3-part series.
Oh, on HBO Max.
Yeah. Brooklyn, Zed, Melissa, and Adam are talking about that. Yeah, that's a very entertaining show. And I think that we are covering The Bear as well. So in the future. So
interesting.
Stay tuned for that. A familiar face, Marissa Garza, is going to be leading that podcast with a few more familiar faces from the PSR days. Yeah.
Incredible. All right. Yeah. Well, that's exciting. So yeah, everyone check that out and come back next week for Great Expectations. Until then, have a good one, everybody. Bye.
Just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.